So,
I feel awful. I feel like I did the same thing last time. I'm like, damn. Because I was like, okay, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock. But that was because last time I said the same thing and was wrong. I'm like, damn it.
so now I figured out the time zone as well. So you're what, 8 hours?
I'm Pacific. Yeah, I'm Pacific. So right now it's about noon.
Okay, yeah, cool. So that's my same as my family in California. Okay, that's
Because
good.
you're in,
It's easy to know.
where are you at, buddy? You're in,
I'm in Leicester, so that's just about an hour from London. So it's the East Midlands. So
that's what's up.
UK.
Heck yeah.
So last week, yeah, I'm recording, but we won't go into the thing yet. But my consciousness has just popped so much in the last few months with all this. And with my channel too, I'm suddenly seeing it as a platform to be able to openly speak about what so many like know now. You know what I mean? Like, and I think this is how we expand that consciousness, is just to keep this out there. Like, and that like I know I'm growing my channel, man, but like the interview with Dave that I had the other week got like just in a week just over 1,000 views, right? And that shows to me, like, and no negative comments either. I keep my comments open. It shows to me,
Awesome.
you know what I'm saying? So I think, right, it's giving me momentum to say, all right, come on, man, let's do this. Like, let's properly talk about this. And it all, like, I will speak from my point of view, like the plane of existence that we understand, like, has come hand in hand with my understanding of manifestation and like God and Christ consciousness. And, you know, I see it as almost like a digital way too, like many hard drives partitioned, one hard drive partitioned off, and then those individual hard drives sent to a server, and then those servers accessed by phones, which is us with the skins, do you know what I mean, bodies, right? You can, if,
Antennas.
you know what I mean, like,
100%.
the way I see it is, if it doesn't fit into the 7 hermetic laws, as above is below, it doesn't work. Right? And I've spent a lot of time understanding that. So I think, yeah, and everything's attraction, right? And everything's vibration. So anyway, I could talk about this for ages. This is exactly what this is about. So
I love it, bro.
the last
Absolutely love it.
the last interview as well, like, it's I think what we kind of got across was well, who's doing this, you know what I mean, like where it's coming from, the control, what we're living on, right? What is the secret, right? The biggest thing, how to keep ourselves more healthy, and that keeps ourselves more aware, you know what I mean, from the poisons. So like you say, let's talk about that kind of stuff again, because I do think there's 3 valid points. And also, like, you know, like I say, the the power that we have, you know what I mean. So
we hold a lot more power than they want you to know. There's so much to our existence that is magnetic, it is energetic, it is frequency. And when we learn how to tune into these things, this is when we really start to live. I need to make a video on it because it's got me super like irritated. Children can read blindfolded. If you teach a child how to, they have to happen before they're 8. But if you put a blindfold on a child and you teach them how to see without their eyes, they will be able to read, play sports, run in and out of cones without needing their eyes and without a single mistake. This is what was robbed from us. They robbed that from you. You were all made with far more far more potential than we even know, and they've zapped it out of you.
It's all like, it's like we've been taught inside out, you know.
Oh, what you believe is real. So if you believe you need your eyes to see,
yeah,
then you need your eyes to see. But if you teach children before they develop the belief that their eyes are the only way they can see, if you teach them how to use the photoreceptors on their skin instead, they could see. Now, granted, I don't think it would look exactly like us. I'd imagine it more like like an outline style thing, but who knows? We'll never know, because we know that you need your eyes to see, so we'll never get to see it.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, unless, I've always thought as well, like, you know, if you do lose your sight, people that are blind and everything else, right? You know, you go into the comics of Daredevil and as like a fiction, but it's really not, because really, when you look at people like the comics of like the character of Daredevil, he loses sight, right? But really, fundamentally, he's showing that your other senses are so much more aware, and why would you have to lose your sight for that to happen? You know, and it's not just fiction, right? And then, and you know what, when you, from my experience, I know that once I understood that we create our own reality, right? And I put these things to a test in my own day to day, and of the living in the feeling of expectancy and knowing, right, of something, and then seeing yourself being naturally guided to it, you see sight beyond sight. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It happens through your every receptor on your body intakes photons. Like this is how you know when it's tired. When to get tired is the sun goes away, and it affects the chemical hormone balance. So like even if you cover your eyes, your skin still sees the light. Okay. We just need to learn how to tap into that, which now we can't. But before we get to the developed age where we believe all of this, we'd be able to do so much more,
And
like so much more.
what about new kids, new generations? You know, like kids that are going to be
You
forthcoming.
have to get them before they turn 8. So your subconscious mind, up until you turn 8, sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's a little later. You're not conscious. You are not a conscious being. You're awake and you're intaking stuff, but you're not aware of your existence. You are still developing yourself.
Yeah.
So your subconscious mind is programming. It's everything you intake. Don't touch this, do this, don't do that, you need to do this, all of those rules that children intake as they're developing, they become their program. So while we're developing and we see with our eyes and we think we need to do this way, that forms your reality. However, if you get to the child before and you teach them before they are 8, before they develop their conscious mind, they have more access to their body than we do, because we've been taught we need everything a certain way. Like eating 3 times a day. Perfect example. I eat once a day and I don't even get hungry till the end of the day. It's what I'm used to. Uh, some
Yeah.
people think that's insane. How do you wait till the end of the day to eat? It's because of what they've created their reality. They need 3 meals a day. So
Yeah.
they need 3 meals a day.
I've also heard of like, I'm the same at the moment. I kind of get to the point of just one meal, you know, and understand that. And, you know, at times in the past, I've definitely not done that. You know what I mean? I've binged out and felt the effects of it. And it's
Oh
only,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if you guys ever looked into intermittent fasting, but I have countless testimonies of people who came to me with issues, like a wide variety of issues, that simply removing 2 meals out of your food a day reversed every one of them. Your body is a very magnificent device. After 15 hours of not eating, it produces an enzyme that feeds off of the negative in your body. So like this enzyme dissolves bad things that would grow into cancer, that would grow into heart disease, that would grow into diabetes, that would grow into dementia. These things get removed by this enzyme. And that enzyme only starts in your body after 15 hours of no food. So if you eat periodically throughout the day, you'll never get the enzyme. You absolutely need to. So that's why I eat 5 to 5. So, or from 5 to 10, and then after 10 I don't eat again, or 9, sorry, 5 to 9, and then I don't eat again until the following day at 5, and that's 20 hours with no food. So that gives my body 5 hours of producing this enzyme to clean my system out while I just drink water. And
well, yeah,
it's life changing.
I've seen that. Have you come across breatharianism? I think when you just drink water and sunlight, really, and just
Breatharians, yes. Like here,
maybe a little bit different to do in the UK because of our weather. We barely get any summer at the moment. Like have for it's usually, you know, it's places like, I've always thought places, hot countries and parts of America, you know, that have that constant heat and that able to do that all the time, or maybe most of the year round. It's a lot easier to do that with. Like you can absorb the energy through your skin, the biggest organ, you know, on you, like through osmosis. So when you have a lot of baths every day, and once you get into it, like, you know, people think it's that it's impossible, but it just shows you that. I mean, I fasted for 3 days, and I tried to do that every year at least, and just drink water. You know, and I know from my own experience from doing that, the energy I feel and the connection I feel just from doing that it's just like it's a drug in itself. You know, you kind of want to stick back to that. So I won't say to people just suddenly stop eating. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, don't do it that way. Don't do it that way.
you've got to adjust your consciousness and awareness into this. But I guess, this is what it's about, man. So, um, just while we're talking about that, actually, just what was that? We know we're having a little bit of a brief chat about that before, but the waters that the alkaline waters that clean up, that should be there to show us all the pesticides and stuff that we have. Like,
Yeah, so Kangen water, it's a ionized living water. So what it does is it uses platinum plates to ionize the water, positive, negative. They attract their opposites, and then the good comes out one side, the bad goes out to the other. When the water is being separated, it adds an extra hydrogen molecule to the drinking water. So it turns it into H3O2, which is exactly what your body's made of. That hydrogen molecule removes free radicals from your body. So being on this phone call, we're getting free radicals, okay? Like we're constantly being bombarded with these things. So the hydrogen actually binds to these free radicals and it flushes out of your system. So you drink it, you get the hydrogen, it binds to these and it removes them. The water itself is alkaline, but that's the least of the properties. It's the bottom of them because it's not only alkaline, but it's microclustered. So it means it's 10 times more absorbable by your body. You don't need to drink as much of it to get hydrated because your body actually absorbs it. It's ionized, which means that it's got the positive and negative charges. The hydrogen removes it's all positive. The ionized, your blood cells are being held in place by the charge of the cell in front of them. So imagine this one are positive, they're pushing off of each other, but they're also surrounded with other positives that like magnetically hold everything in a single file line so you can't get blood clots. It
right.
stops you from getting blood clots. Not in a way that it's like, oh, you'll bleed to death if you drink it. Just in the fact that like it stops your blood from coagulating on the inside because every single individual cell becomes charged. And like I was saying, those charges repel each other and they hold each other into a perfect single file line. So it makes your blood's more viscous. It's far more lubricant than it is before because it's microclustered. You're also more hydrogenated, okay, or hydrogenated. You're more hydrated. So not only are you more hydrated, you've got positive charged blood cells. You got hydrogen removing the free radicals. When you remove these toxins from your body, you become more alkaline because free radicals are very acidic. So when you remove that from it, your blood naturally, your organs will naturally become more alkaline. And then you've got the alkaline part of the water itself. So when you drink the alkaline water, it absorbs through your lining of your esophagus and your stomach and even your mouth. And so you get this highly alkaline water in your body to counteract the higher acidity. So like all diseases thrive in an acidic environment. So when you add high alkaline, it reduces the amount of acidity in your stomach and just overall. But the hydrogen in it removes the bad from your blood, which makes your blood naturally more alkaline. So it doesn't need to, like people will argue, your stomach acid increases the acidity of anything you drink, and therefore it's pointless to care about what you eat. That's wrong. Sure, your stomach acid does interact with the water, but the hydrogen and the microclustered portions of this water scrub your body. It gets through your blood-brain barrier, gets right into it. And there's two types of oxygen in your blood. You have oxygen, and then you have oxidation. Oxidation is not oxygen. It's very bad. Kangen water increases your blood oxygen by 5% within 10 minutes of drinking it. Wow. So if you're at like a 92, it will increase it 5% of the 92, not of the whole 100. So it would go up to, I think it'd be like 96 if you drink a cup of Kangen water. Your blood alcohol or the oxygen in your blood would increase.
Thing is, there's so many people like still that just don't drink water, period.
Oh, geez, awful. Well, look around it. And I used to kind of be, I live in the world. So I see people and I would be like, oh, look at that person, like, don't take care of themselves, right? And like I used to have a different outlook. Now what I know is that they're being poisoned, they're being tricked into consuming these toxins. They're not aware of all of these different things because there's too much soda, there's too much of this stuff in their face. People are creatures of abundance. We are naturally drawn to abundance. So when you could abundant something like Dr. Pepper and you could drink as much as you want, these people just go with it. And they, you know, and yes, it's kind of their fault, but at the end of the day, they didn't put that product on the shelf. Somebody did knowingly, knowing it's going to cause them these illnesses.
When you've been indoctrinated in, you know, like I say, the cognitive dissonance in your mind, your field, you know, like I say, it takes two to tango, I think, right? You know, there comes a point where we do have choice and we can become aware. If we choose after a while to just keep ignoring the information, then our point is that it is down to ourselves, you know?
Exactly. I love the way you worded that, because I'm going to really start to focus on awareness, because everybody knows about awareness. A lot of people don't believe in consciousness. They don't believe like in a collective consciousness. They don't believe that a higher view of yourself will mirror out into the world. It just will. They don't believe these things. So awareness is consciousness. If you bring awareness to the fact that these sodas are really unhealthy for you, and you're telling them and you're like trying to let them consciously be aware of what they're doing, you did your part. Now, if they openly reject even after they intake the truth, that ends up landing on them. But at least we can know that we did the right thing, because remaining silent when you know all of these different things is in itself a crime in my eyes. Like, you're performing a very serious thing just by maintaining your silence.
Yeah, I think the word consciousness to some people and being conscious, you know, from my point of view, when I was waking up, I don't know, over 2007, 2008, I guess, to these things, it was these words themselves that I wanted to know what they actually meant. And like you just said, when I connected the dots from consciousness to being awareness, it was like this paradigm shift. Again, I learned later, but it was just boom. And then once you get more of that, you start developing what real awareness is. That's when you start being conscious. But I put my hands up, I wasn't conscious, you know, I didn't know. But once the information came in front of my face, I was like, well, I can't deny this, because this feels like something I should be following, and it feels right. So I just say to people that if you are firstly coming onto these things, and if something's there, you choose to ignore it, but something's feeling inside you that maybe you shouldn't. Like, after a while, that is a pull that you should be listening to, you know.
Yep.
And if you don't, you're only going to cause more dis-ease to yourself, because it is your own vibration that you're rejecting. You know, you're a prison of your own selves, right? And it's to awaken this inside, and to deny it will make you ill. Really.
Absolutely. 100%.
So
Your mind is a powerful thing. Very powerful.
Saying as well, but people think the mind is your brain. Well, the mind is accessed from your brain, right? But it's also accessed from all your other energy centers in your body.
Every cell on your body is your mind.
Exactly. And it extends out too. It's your field around you, you know. And I think that's one of the big misinformations that people know. Probably, I'm not going to date drop, I don't know, maybe from the 1920s, from certain families pushing it around, but they associate the mind with indoctrination and images of just being the brain, just the brain, right? And they throw it at you like, when you say the mind, people think, oh, it's just the brain. And you have to usually expand that too. So it is, and then it just keeps getting bigger. So when you understand what the mind is, and then like I came across recently, it might have been on your videos, but like what the word meant really meant. Exactly. Like, you probably tell it a bit better than I would at the moment, but I think coming from a Greek word, I think it was.
Entertainment, yes, I think is what you're talking about, because enter is to go in, tain means to hold back and restrict, and ment means mind. So the word entertainment, when you break it down, means to enter into the mind and hold it back. So it is derived from a Greek, ment is derived from Greek philosophy. And like people, I had somebody arguing like, well, what about the word hot dog? It's not a real dog. Like trying to like, and these are like slang terms that don't really have a meaning, and they might, but when you're talking stuff like government, that is a very purposeful, the way it's written down is perfectly explaining what it is. Just because hot dog doesn't, does not mean government and these other things, because government is to control the people. So to control the people's mind. Okay, so like they put these things down because these words hold energy, and this energy gets stored over time. And when they swap the meaning of something, but that word still holds that energy, and we start using it for a different meaning, you're still attaching energy to this word. And so that's what they've been doing. They've been tricking us into English is indoctrination at its finest. It's the worst of all. That's because it's a bunch of little chunks from all of these different real languages, and then they put them together, and we have a different meaning for it than their actual meaning. But their real meaning is what's being energetically charged through our talking about it.
I think from my perspective, words are so powerful, right? I mean, in my background, I do poetry, right? I write spoken word, I play guitar and play piano and do kind of stuff like that. But it's always been, before the music came in, it was always the poetry and how powerful the words were. And I like to rhyme. So as soon as I started to rhyme my poetry, it would become a natural vibration and a flow. But the message that I tried to give in my poetry, I knew it was more than words, and it's a vibration, and it's a powerful thing. So words became such a powerful thing for me, and that's how I adjusted into affirmations and what that actually meant. And I was trying to understand, how could a word affect my reality? Because that's what people come and get on. How could I just say something and no one's around? How would that affect me? How could that affect you? Well, when you understand what the mind is, and that is a field around you, and how everything vibrates and everything, like again, these hermetic laws. So we go to the law of vibration, which is your throat chakras and all these kind of things. So your words cause an invisible field when you say something, and the more you say it, the more you're sending it out there, and how you say it reflects on what you get back and the vibration that you give. So it's, yeah, words are powerful, and when they've been taken, misconstrued, and told that they're not what is, they're minor words, they're just government and just entertainment and just this and just that. They're done on purpose to make us just think it's something to block us out. And as much as they are, we like being entertained, we like to enter our own mind with choice, right? And we like to do that ourselves. But if it's with intent on our own side, then yeah, we're taking the power back. And I think that's really what it is. It's not to say that, okay, these people have used this, but and it's bad, but also it's to say that, hold on, it's not about that. It's that you can do it too. You know what I mean? And when you take the power back to yourself and use your words and understand that you're an energetic being that's vibrating first, not this body, and what you do affects this outside, this world around you second. It's like there's the mirror principle in reality transurfing was a big thing. The book Reality Transurfing is huge for me when I understanding manifestation. But
what kind of surfing? Sorry, I thought you said couch surfing.
Yeah. No, Reality Transurfing in a book by Nadim Zealand. There's a section in it called the mirror principle. And the mirror principle, it's basically what happens on our inside reflects on our outside. But the way it explains is it is just like a mirror. We have to, when you jump in front of a mirror, you see the reflection, but we have to know that there's a delay with that what we see. So what we feel on the inside, we have to become it naturally, right? Before the outside world will create it, right? The mirror principle will have to manifest in the outside world. So people say, okay, well, because they're still understanding what manifestation is and how to manifest, and how what we feel on the inside is reflecting on the outside, and there is a delay. And from my experience, when you write these things down, like when you journal, it's making recording in your subconscious mind. And because we have to forget it in order to almost manifest it, or at least expect it, right? Once we expect it, then we've kind of let it go, and we're living in that state for the vibration to create in the outside world, right? And I think when like I said, we've been taught the other way around. We've been taught to react to what is in the outside world and just work with what we see is what we get. And it's a lesson, man. I think for some people still, it's from the people I speak to and try and help along this journey, like coach as well. It's we're trying to understand how to believe in ourselves, really. Really what it comes down to is having self-belief in your own self and knowing that you have the power, not something else. Okay, so there's a big part of the manifestation community I see that will happy to understand that we manifest our own reality and we create our own outer world. But when it comes down to the fact that we possibly live on a flat plane, it suddenly goes out the window.
It makes far more sense if, like, it blows my mind that it's easier for people to believe in simulation theory than the flat earth, right? And it's because those were never attacked in school. Flat earth was attacked in school. It was attacked in TV shows. They developed the hate for it. But all of these things, hollow earth, flat earth, the simulation theory, all of these things are far better explained even on a flat surface. Like video games don't have, like, they're flat and they're rendered as you go through them, and like it's perceivably flat. And so I just think it's crazy that people are more open to these things than they are flat earth. And I try to integrate them. Hey, like, yeah, prove me wrong. Find out that it's a triangle. Find out that we're shaped like a pyramid. I don't care. But the size of the ball that they say we are is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. And people need to figure out that the money that they're using to lie about this is coming out of their pocket. They're suppressing technology that your children will never see, but they will pay taxes on until they die. Okay. They're hiding energy resources that would change the way everything is done. We wouldn't have an economy that's driven by things like oil and like profiting of corporations. What you would see if we got rid of this lie is a world with less corporations, more independently derived businesses and products, where the people hold the power, not Vanguard and BlackRock. Right now, everything you buy goes right up to Vanguard or BlackRock. And this is robbing us because that money is not going into the community to make the community better. It is leaving the community. It's going to who knows where, and they're living off of it. And they're taking that money and they're building more slave camps with it. McDonald's they want $23 billion a year so they could make more McDonald's to rob you of more money. Same thing with Walmart. These people do not need that ungodly amount of money. They just don't. They're using it to spread their cancer.
It's the word of consumerism. That's what they're trying to mass produce because that keeps us quiet.
We could have a consumer market without the way it's set up. It just needs to be done differently. So, like, for instance, when you want a car, you just drive and go look around, and the car you bought, they had to make 15 cars. They had to make the cheaper trim, the more expensive trim, the gold, the red, the blue, the yellow, the pink, whatever colors. They had to make all of these different colors. So you have the choice to go pick one of these cars out. Because they do this, thousands of cars go to junkyards every year that's never even been driven. They go to parking lots and they sit there because these people are trying to create so much so you could choose. That doesn't need to be the way it is. Those cars are coming out of the ground where our children will never be able to dig those resources up again. They're gone. So we need to limit this, right? And how do you do that? Okay, we ordered the car instead, and you ordered a week in advance or whatever, however long, and you wait for the damn thing. You don't need that instant gratification. You can pick the color, the trim, and now they don't need to sell them for $60,000. Now they could sell them for 20, because now instead of making 100,000 cars and only selling 40,000 of them, they only make the amount of cars that they're selling. So you're not wasting resources. You're not creating all of this illusion of choice. Like Doritos, think about this. Doritos, if you've ever seen one bag of Dorito, they had to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of bags of Doritos made so that you could see that one bag. Because it's everywhere. And the massive corporations who are in every store, they're not necessary. Your family could have invented a chip that gets sold in your town very easily. Like a packaging facility is super easy. Making chips is super easy. It is not super easy to get onto the market because of Doritos, Lay's, Fritos. So they've taken and monopolized the entire corporate world where we can't, like, if you want to, you could try, but you're gonna just be a little freckle on the butt of the corporate America, which this is the problem.
Well, it goes around. It goes. How I say it goes around the world, but okay, you know what I mean. It goes uh, throughout.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Like okay, so this is just going back to that, right? Some of the big things is when you look at footage, right? Just anyone to kind of say, "What is this on about flat Earth?" Come on, man, I'm going to turn off my. I'm going to turn off now. Okay, just hold up, right? Go and look at all the footage that you see of weather balloons up there. I've been watching them today, right? 5, 10 years, 2 years, 2 months, doesn't matter. Last week, right? They're all the same. As soon as they go up there, yeah, it's all nice, beautiful, and flat. You see all this, you see all the ground, and everything's great. And it takes about 2.5 hours, whatever, for these videos to get up there. And you get to about 2 hours, 43 minutes. All of a sudden, that's when the fisheye kicks in. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, and space starts bending, and it starts going backwards this way, and it starts doing this, and he starts going, whoa, what's going on, man? And you are looking at the comments and going, look, there's finally proof of the curvature of the Earth. I go, whoa, what are you seeing? And it comes back, that really comes back to the indoctrination, because, when you ask people, we go, well, can you prove that the Earth is round right now? I've seen these videos too, and can you just prove it when yourself? And then a lot of the times they just say, of course I can. I put it on my phone and I show you pictures of what NASA sent me, right? And you show you these pictures, and you look how long they've been sending these pictures for, right? And like, and looking at all the pictures, I think looking at some of your TikToks, like when you go down, you look at and you scroll down, you look at what real pictures of Earth look like, and not one is real, right? Not without edited imagery, especially when it comes to added a curvature. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
And they've even admitted too that these are not photos, they're images, like an image is completely different to what a photograph is, and just quickly on that, it's like it's been going on for years. Like, I mean, when you watch TV shows from like the 60s, right? There's a show out there, people know this, Bewitched. Okay, and Bewitched from the 60s, a magic show about witch, they mentioned the moon landing in episode. And people are so in awe about the moon landing and everything else. But at the time, people didn't know any different. So the footage that they showed you was acceptable, right, within what people's awareness was, But when you look at it today with a completely different mind, man, it's laughable. It really is. And like, I think
it's mental.
and something
It's mental.
on my other video, Dave showed as well, like the Chinese space station, right? They're supposed to be in space and zero gravity, man, and they've got an actual glass of water just sitting there. You know what I mean? It's like, who are they trying to kid? So I just say to people, man, just like before you could, just look at this, like look at it with fresh eyes. Like, it wasn't until I started to see people within this manifestation community, I think one guy was called a channel called Be Inspired, right? I saw an interview with Dave Weiss that he did, and that suddenly, I every time I look for flat Earth, it was always the Flat Earth Society and all this misinformation. And I think if you just look behind you, the image that you've got on your wall, right? Yeah, like that's what they're kind of almost showing, like, in a sense, like they're with this floating rock in space, and I think that's all you.
Just that's a gift from one of my viewers. So I think it's
good.
beautiful and I love it,
But
but it doesn't represent my belief on what the Earth is. So
I think I see that, but it's like when you look into what this is what they show you, and I think it's valid information for people to say, just look a bit deeper. But once you've taken the understanding that we create our own reality and match that with this, so I found these people that were in this community and started to talk about this, and I see Dave Weiss and his understandings, and then all of a sudden now my YouTube, because I subscribe to these people, my algorithm's only throwing this information on. But I will notice that as soon as I watch something, right, they'll put up a flat Earth, like,
oh yeah,
I log up there, to make you think like it's disinformation and this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? And like, so, but you can't deny the fact that, like there's no real image, man. Like, there's no real image of the Earth, right? Everything's fish-eyed, and if you just really look at it with an open perspective, like, and it just kind of just keeps going, like with the
you would have to be mental to believe that they can't get a real photo of the Earth. Like, I mean, like if you were to follow the narrative, the reason why they have to spray the clouds on is because they're taking little slivers of a photo, so they have to, that doesn't make sense because the time in between each one is it's ridiculous. How come they can't take just a single photo of the earth? This is the most mental thing I ever heard in my life. Like,
Mad.
they have to Photoshop it because it takes slivers of data. Like, you mean to tell me that whatever's taking these photos is not high enough to actually see the whole earth, because you can't get high enough to see the whole earth?
But
It's like,
that's BS too, because then they throw out images when I don't know what it is, but they're saying it was an image taken from the dark side of the moon. I'm like, what? And it's got the earth on it, and they say that this is real. I'm like, come on, people! Like, there's no way this is it. And when they even admit, like NASA, I don't know, artists have even said that they have made these images, put these images together, you know. So, but coming back to actually what we do live on, the information is like, when you think about what a plane is, a plane of existence has been spoken about for so long. Like, my heritage is Nordic, right? And the
nice.
Norse mythology, sorry, is, Asgard. And I've always believed in Asgard. I know that this place is a real place. I don't know where it is, right? But I've always believed that these kind of, they can't, I don't know, something about me that they just can't all be myth, right? There's got to be some truth to it. And when I look at these kind of bigger maps that have even existed before, these places are on it. You know what I mean? And they exist there, and they've been not only just been put there by fantasy writers, they've been documented for so long. And and it goes back like eons, man. It goes back eons, right? With the giants coming to this realm and encoding information in the water, in the ice, and showing how much water is data. It holds data and everything else. And these beings have come from different realms, not from different planets, right? Different parts of the realm, this and the other. And this has been spoken about for so long. Even I think it's the new Netflix series or wherever it's on, The Sandman, right? He talks about right at the beginning, that that comes from an old comic too, right? But that also talks about how we live on different planes of reality, and it's uh, it's so instilled in our history. Like, when you really look into it, it's way beyond.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Feed you, man. Like, so, when did you first kind of go, like, twig to go? Okay.
So I've always known that our government was doing all kinds of evil shit. So I've never trusted them in any way, like, ever, my whole life. But when I heard the flat earth argument, I did the same thing everybody else did. I was like, really? Like, come on, guys. And so I looked into it. I want to say it was probably 2019 that I heard about it. I didn't tell anybody that I was looking into it. I just kind of was quiet about it. And then after a little research, I wasn't like fully invested in it. I'd look here and there. When I figured it out, I did it like, all of my arguments are my arguments, right? I don't use the same thing everybody else does, because when I heard this, I said, well, I could prove it myself through different things. If I see this is what it is. If I see that, then this is what it is. Yeah. So like, this is where like my star arguments come from, and like all of this stuff just comes from real observations that we could make ourselves. I don't rely on anybody who's dead to prove anything. The whole globe model is relying on people who are dead to prove anything. How do you even know what they're saying was true, right? Like, so basically, like, when you just step back and you look objectively and you really want to know the truth, you'll find it. If you're not looking for the truth, if you're looking to mock people, that's what you're going to find too. And like, there's like, if you're not ready for this, you're not going to wake up, because the indoctrination is so real that they've taken everything from the flat earth and they twisted it to be on a ball, and it works. Like, if you look at it and you trust only math, the math works. The math of the stars moving above our head works on flat earth or globe earth. So that the actual observation, which is called math is just a language to describe an observation. So when you take math and you look at the observation, yeah, it works, whether this thing's spinning or the stars are spinning, it works. Sunsets, sunrises work on both models. These are things that work on both models. They've stolen that, and they've applied all of the observations we can really make, and then they put it onto a globe. This is why the numbers are so extreme. This is why stars are so far, but yet very similar in size. Like, all of this nonsense has to be what it is for them to match the observation that we are actually seeing. So everything that they say is an observation that is being made. Like, I'm not going to sit here and deny any of the observations or the math. I'm just going to, you know, like, cool, like it works on both models. When you look at everything, the whole thing, and you don't just look at the motion of the stars, you don't just look at the orientation of the stars, you look at everything, the ground, is it measured, like physics of water, all of it, high pressure, low pressure, can these things exist? It becomes a sad, pathetic joke, the globe does. Like, upon scrutiny, it becomes a very pathetic joke. But independently, if you're not serious and you just look into one thing, yeah, you're going to see that it works on both models, because everything can work on both models. There's few stuff that can't, but the things that can't work on both models are far outside of the grasp of a normal person's understanding, that you can't really use it. Because like some of my arguments go right over people's heads, and they're absolute globe killers. Like, cannot happen on a ball, and some people just don't understand it.
Well, they you say 2019, right? It's interesting because like the Nikon camera, the 900 or 1000, right? When did that come out? Like around that time, right?
I bought a camera to do this. So I bought one, I forget, it's the one below the P900, not the P, it's something else, but it's a Nikon. It's the one step below it. So, and I can't get the damn thing to work anymore. So my son and I are trying to figure out how to get the format to work on the memory card so we could start going out and taking pictures again. But the sheer amount of missing curvature when you look, like, measuring, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's just not there. When you see a boat that appears like it disappeared over the curve, what you are seeing, and it's very clearly when you're looking at it, is bent light. It is very obviously bent. Like, you can't argue that it's bent. When you're looking farther distances than you're supposed to be able to see on a globe, it's not bent. It's perfectly level. It's not distorted at all. So the bending of light would bend the light. So refraction is bending light. So if you have two main images, one of them clearly is bent light and the other one is clearly not, then the argument will be put onto the boat, because the boat is, it's obvious. When you look at it, you really think a whole boat can disappear from like just looking at the images. It's hilarious that people believe that that boat is sailing over a curve.
Well,
But again, it takes critical thinking. You have to actually know how to think, which a lot of people can't.
It's the technology has helped us, because I say, because of the cameras that you got and the latest cameras that we get now, only in the last few years, to be honest with you, right?
There are different observations that you cannot zoom back in on. You can't zoom back in on the sun as it leaves away from you, like to a certain point, but there is a point in which it drops below the field of horizon. The best way, and this is one of my, it's the hardest thing for me to explain. If I'm looking straight up to see my ceiling, I have to look up. Okay. As I want to see the same ceiling over there, I no longer have to look as straight up. My angle changes. We're talking thousands of miles here, thousands of miles. So an object that stays at the same elevation as my ceiling, the further away it gets, it is going to drop down.
Yeah.
Now, if you put a big enough object on there that you could watch it for, I don't know, 100 miles, it would drop beneath the thing without the ball disappearing. It's just how it works. Think about it like this. You're standing in a neighborhood and a bird flies over your head. You can see that bird. The bird stays at the same elevation, but it flies past your house. You are no longer, you don't have the angular resolution to see the bird anymore. The bird did not need to shrink to a dot. It simply needed to go beyond the optical horizon. And once that happens, they disappear. It's literally how it works, guys. Like, the ground rises and the sky falls, and then at that point, however many miles that is, depending on where you're at that point, things disappear and you cannot bring them back in. Now, boats, when they're going over the curve, that is the bending of the light. The light is actually bending it to make it look like it. And how you can tell is the curve is right here, okay? And the boat is right here, but it's dropped down like this. So you could see the horizon, not the curve, sorry. You could see the horizon, and the boat is below the horizon right next to it. It's like the earth does not move like that. It would be a very consistent thing, and it would disappear completely different. But these things are like really critical thinking. You can't, like, there's so many things that I want to say that I can't because people just don't understand it.
Well, I think you just say it, to be honest with you, man. Because I think with the more people that are just, until we do just open up and say stuff to people, right? Get them on your TikToks. Start making these videos to do it, because it's not about
So
people.
I'm starting a podcast actually. I'm having a website created. I'm going to do my own website with no censorship, no platform. I'm going to create my own website, my own live stream. Caleb and I, KC Industries, we're launching a podcast. And what we're going to do is him and I are going to team up, and we're going to get telescopes, we're going to get weather balloons, we're going to get go rent boats on the ocean. We're going to do laser measurements. We are going to do every experiment possible to kill this thing. And we're going to, like, it's a done deal. We are, by next Monday, we're going to officially tell everybody. And then that Friday, we're going to have our first show. So we're going to create a podcast where we could bring on big celebrities, because people, will come to us. And then we're going to take everything that we're doing there, we're going to apply it. We're going to go to the Foucault pendulum. I'm going to go to NASA, and I'm going to argue this shit to NASA to their face. I'm going to go to the Foucault pendulum and do the same thing. We're going to get drones, and we're going to observe the sunrise and sunset from an elevation. We're going to do these things. We'll chase the sun down to catch those images where the sun's on the right and the moon's on the left, and you are on the nighttime. This stuff happens on the ocean. Very beautiful. So we're going to chase these things down. We're going to get telescopes. We're going to do live streams, and the ball is going to die. Like we're full sending it. Caleb and I spent a long time planning this, and we're launching it next week, and it's going to change everything.
That's exciting stuff, man, because this is exactly what is needed.
These are the things that are needed. Everybody's been asking me. I've very limited what I put on my TikTok, because I know a lot about government. I know a lot about the corona. I know a lot about the vaccines and all of these different things that, like, I can't say here. I'm not allowed to. So this is why we're not doing Patreon. We're not going to do anybody's platform. We are designing our own, doing it ourselves. So you can't tell me what I can and cannot put on my website. So that's what's going to happen. I've already talked to my web designer, got it started. We're going to make a podcast that, we'll have guests on. We're going to take polls where it's like, what do you want us to talk about next week? And then so on our TikToks, we'll make videos, and whatever one gets liked the most, we'll make a video on that. And so we'll create topics in our TikTok, move people over to the podcast, and we're going after this thing. We're going after it.
I don't think this can be shut up anymore, man. I really don't. I think it's not no such thing as a coincidence, and there's no coincidence right now that this has exploded. Right, in the last few years, has exploded.
Well, it's funny.
They caused lockdowns, right? But actually, they caused a mass awakening, and then a bigger mass awakening than you could ever realize, right? And this consciousness shift with this subject specifically is not going away, mate, because you can't hide this, like you say. So, well, thank you, mate. Thanks for doing this, because I need like you, man, like pushing it out, right? And like speaking the speak, because it's like you say, it is awareness, and the more people that take this on themselves and listen, that's all it is. It's you can try and quiet this all you like, right, with certain things, and people will take it as a pinch of salt and go, okay, I don't believe it, that's fine. But people will, right? And you just got to keep persevering. But you're right, man. Many people, not just for this subject, they go out on their own. They take on their own now, and it seems to be the thing, isn't it? I'm have to do the same thing myself. You know what I mean? But
we named it Unearthing Reality. So Unearthing Reality is going to be the name of the show. And then it'll be Unearthing Flat Earth, Unearthing COVID, Unearthing Dinosaurs, Unearthing Nukes, because unearthing is to uncover something. And so we're going to have, it's Unearthing Reality, and then our show topics will be, whatever we decide: COVID, vaccine, flat earth, this, that, like the election, all of the different shit that people want to talk about. We're going to like dig the fuck into it in a way where you cannot censor me. I'll be able to put out all of the documents, get everything set up where there's nothing you could do about it. It's my personal server. I'm paying to have a server designed. So that way there you can't, like, if I was on Patreon or any of these other podcast things, they could limit me if I make a mistake. And that's just sucks, right? So I'm creating personal server that's going to be ours. Nobody's going to be allowed to tell us what to do on it. And we are going to destroy the globe. Like, it is over. You know Caleb, right?
Yeah. Like I think
Yeah. Him and I together are gonna, like, it's over, dude. Like, we're gonna smack the globe down. And it
like
was funny because when I asked him about it, I was like, Caleb, like, bro, like, I want to do a podcast. I was like, and it'd be cool, like, and he was like, I don't remember what day it was because we've been talking about it, but he was like, dude, I was literally just thinking about that. He's like, I was driving to work and I was thinking, man, I'd like to do like a real legitimate show. And like, he's like, and you know what? You were the one person I thought of too. So it's kind of funny because I was like, it was like a whim thing because it was a few weeks ago and I was just like, yo, Caleb, should we do this? And I had spent a ton of money on a website for my CBD that they failed. So I'm trusting them again, but I got them to convert all of my funds over to a new website. So now I've got a really expensive website coming in that I'm not gonna have to pay for because I already did, but it's gonna be legit. We're gonna have clothes, we're gonna have different things, and like I'm gonna do like a raffle where like if you're subscribed for 4 months, you get each month you're subscribed, you get a raffle, and then we do a winning raffle where we take winners and we take them and go to NASA together. So like we'll show up with the crew of people to rent a boat to go measure the curve on the ocean, to show up at NASA, to go challenge NASA, to go to the full cold pendulum and have a crowd with us and be like, you're a fucking liar. You're lying. How does the earth turn in a 14-foot circle?
NASA's just fiction, man. It really is.
It's
Like one of the big
hilarious. It's over. Their little game is over.
like when you associate things like Victor von Braun with Walt Disney, right? You there? You got your boy. Right. When you associate Victor von Braun with like Walt Disney, and you suddenly go, "What's Walt Disney got to do with NASA?" Right? And you go, "Oh, well, it's all light and magic and smoke and mirrors, right?" But this is where it all started, right? And it started to go, "Hold on a second, this is just fantasy, man." And it really is. It started with this. Think of NASA like an alternative version of Disney, right? That's really what it is. It's just some fantasy thing.
They're together for sure. Like
Over the years, it has just been this media circus, mate. Like, and when you look into it, it's not a space agency, man, like in any sense of the word, and it is just media. So I think that's the thing. I'd be happy to like when you get this stuff going, man. I'll be posting the links in this video.
Oh, dude, we're gonna set up like special guests, and like it's gonna be a probably once a week thing where like we hold a nice big long event live, and then all of our past stuff will be on there too, with documents attached to it. So everything that we talk about, the proof will be there from the horse's mouth, and everything will be set up. And then like because debating globe earthers is not even efficient. Like, sure, like talking to some helps, but the globe earthers on TikTok are not even trying. They don't even care to learn. So if we can just develop a platform where people like you, me, Caleb, we talk and we ask each other the questions and we allow the audience to chime in and we deal with their topics and stuff. This is going to limit the trolls. It's going to stop. It's only going to be people who are serious, and we'll be able to spread messages like you need to talk to your friends and family. Don't let it turn into a fight. Like, don't allow it to divide you, but these different things. And as it grows, we will have the ability to do way more against this thing because these things cost a ton of money to try to do these experiments. And so we've been trying to figure out like, how could we do it? And like, this is it. Like if we create a podcast, we can literally create a platform where everybody's participating in the killing of the globe. And so like, if you can't actively make videos and do this thing, you support us and we will do it. You know what I mean? And we're going to go full time on this argument. So it's gonna be fun.
Actually, I think, like you say, like when you show people the experiments, right, and don't even mention flat Earth, right, because that sends the indoctrination and the dissonance off, right? Just show them the experiment and say, did you know that this is this, right? And did you know that you can do this and this shows the result of this? And let their own awareness pop, right? Because as soon as you throw these words out there, words of power, right? And if they've been controlled and indoctrinated with certain vibrations around it, then they're gonna feel that first. But if you show the evidence, you show the experiment, and people see this for what it is, then it's you can't deny it, man. You have to kind of open your level of awareness to see the truth around it,
That's
you know.
that's been my whole like the way I aim at it is like allow for people to realize it themselves. This is why I present it in a common sense way where it's like just think about it. Like if you really just think about it, uh put it together in your head, see if it makes sense to you, because again, math is a language, so you cannot use math to prove anything at all. It is an observation. That's it. It's the same thing as me looking at the sky and saying it's blue and then telling you it's blue because it's, you know, whatever reason I want. I just observed it. I didn't do any isolation. I didn't do any experiments. I didn't do anything. I just looked at it. That's that's what the globe is. It's just you just saw it. We just observed it. We got math. And this thing is like people don't, they're not aware of these things, and we're going to bring awareness to it.
Can you just like go over the bar magnet and the plane of inertia? I think because I think to pop people's just get your imagination going, guys. Like just use this and start seeing what this is because like this is massive, man. Like, and it's
So this is one of my absolute favorite topics to talk about when people are on the same level.
yeah,
It's
man.
one of my least favorite things to have to approach to somebody who thinks the earth is a physical rock. That, you know, we're physical, that's it. Because we're not, we're energetic. We are a frequency. And if you were to look at like sound waves being projected onto a screen, like it's got a plane of inertia and it's got, you know, we are spoken into existence. We exist in between the torsion field. So imagine a positive charge and a negative charge coming together and they're pulling. And as they're squeezing together, it creates a level in the middle and between these two. And the pulling, the pushing work together. This is why all of the stars move exactly how a magnetic field moves to the T. The southern star, all of that stuff, all of it moves exactly like that on a magnetic field to the T. Right spin, left spin, straight spin, south celestial star, north celestial star. These things are there on the flat model. But trying to speak like showing, hey, this is it's not fantasy land, but this is the amazingness of the flat earth is it opens the door to an energetic existence in which anything is possible. Right now, there's nothing possible for, you can't go to Mars, you can't go to Jupiter, you can't, and you'll never be able to. You'll die before anybody ever steps foot on Mars. But
unless Mars is another place on the plane. You know what
you
I
know
mean?
what I think Mars is?
Go on.
My wholehearted belief. I believe Mars is mankind's, so M,
Yeah.
augmented A, reality system. Mars, mankind's augmented reality system. Who's trying to take us to Mars? Elon Musk. What else is Elon Musk trying to do? He's trying to augment the reality of mankind by putting an AI into your brain. So that way there you live in this fantasy world, an augmented reality, mankind's augmented reality system. That's Mars. That's where they're going to take you. They're going to inject a computer into your head, and you're going to go to Mars because they own your thoughts, and they could put you on Mars if they have an AI. You could be on Mars. You could be
Yeah.
in a basement being tortured somewhere, and your mentality is in Mars because you got this AI implant, so your body could be being tortured, and then you could be living in Mars and whatever. The implications of going augmented like that are so dangerous. The sheer level of like the deception that's possible when that happens is it's over. Like if you get that thing, you're done. Guarantee you that's it.
So there's a lot of talk about Saturn, right? And I think okay, so the Saturn not being a planet as such, but all right, this is just my feeling, right? But Saturn seems to be there's a pull there in history. There's something about Saturn itself, right? And I don't know where that lies, but is it another energetic plane possibly? Like like
Oh,
that's pulling to from us or to us, the opposite side, maybe I don't know. Like
I think that if I had to like throw something like that at the topic, I would say that anything that's above our field of view is lighter than us, and light is energy. And essentially, all of the physical world is light, it's energy. So like we are a step beneath them. So like if Saturn is a place and Mars is a place and not just a skylight. They're physically higher realms. So they are light realms where instant manifestation is possible.
Yeah, yeah.
And
What I'm
instead
saying.
of it being a physical thing.
That's what I mean by a different plane. Like, you know, like I do, I know that we have different planes of existence, right? And like we are energetic beings. Nothing is solid, man. Like it's only our perception of what we perceive it to be solid, and everything's vibrating so fast for us to think it. There you go, solid, right? But underneath, all energy, right? So, like you say, the flat Earth model, the bar magnet shows us that, and the plane of inertia shows that we're all energetic beings, and this is the home that we exist on. So therefore, okay, so if the heavens, so to speak, are above, and these are the waters above, then maybe the other planes of an ethereal place, a consciousness, exist in these realms above us, right? And we have these different realms going each wall, but they're all essentially energetic places, right? And but consciousness is the connection towards them all, you know, like, and that's what we is. And I think when they say that the 3D realm was created on a lower density, a lower vibration, well, from higher realms of consciousness, right? And there's talk of this. So it was created. This realm was created from other higher states of consciousness into us for us to maybe experience in a different way. Like I say, not instant manifestation, right? You know, not just click and it's there. We have to kind of have this mirror principle for us to learn and experience different way. But that doesn't mean it's not all energetic, right? And it just means that, because I know that when we have dreams, when I have like meditations, whatever, you know, I can experience something now. I can just go into my mind, I could lucid dream, and I can create the world around me. And it is instant manifestation. As soon as I want something in that the alpha state, that theta state, as soon as I go deeper in that meditated state, it's as soon as you choose it, it's there, right? And that, I think people think it's just a dream world. It's just something that doesn't make any sense here. No, actually, that's really energy. That's really pure consciousness. And I think this realm that we exist on is so special because we get to experience it in such a different way that we can appreciate it.
We grow through it. So what we're experiencing right now is uh the lacking system. So because we are eternal energetic beings, who do have much more power than we were aware of, this kind of situation allows for us to submerge ourselves into a situation that we normally wouldn't be able to be in, to experience this lacking system that creates all of these other issues like envy, all of them, like lusting, envy, like there's a couple other I'm forgetting, but these things are created through the lacking. And so it develops you in an understanding where you won't manifest bad stuff. So basically what I would say is like that we're down here learning what bad is and all of these things so we could learn not to project bad into the higher realms, because if you can instantly manifest and you're not doing the spiritual work but you end up in that realm, you would manifest bad stuff and it would be like hell to you, because everything you're afraid of would be attacking you constantly and you want to be able to get away from it.
So it's kind of why they say we're the kids, really, because we're here to understand that energetic transference, right, of balance, of polarity. You know, again, that's one of the seven hermetic principles. You know, it's the law of polarity. It's understanding that balance. There's no such thing as real good or bad, but understanding how
It's
how you
different parts of the spectrum. Good and bad are the same thing on the same scale, but it's different sides. Like hot and cold are both temperature. Good and bad are both the same thing. Some are just colder, some are hotter. The hotter ones, you know, you don't like it. You're like choosing your side right now. You're choosing whether or not you want to go this way or do this way. And I don't know if you've ever heard of like the law of one, where they state that we're all on a eternal journey
yeah.
and that we started off down low and we're working our way up. And if you are selfish in this realm, then you end up in a different realm where everybody's selfish. And if you're selfless here, you end up in a higher realm where everybody's loving and kind and stuff. So there's a lot to it. I could get super deep on that topic, but there's just a lot to it. I think we're far more energetic, and that if you were eternal, which you are, you'd be doing exactly this. You went into If you didn't go through these things, eternal life would be boring. But because we do go through these things, it makes you appreciate far more.
That brings up something quite interesting. Like, you know, people perceive death to be right. There's no such thing, man. Like, okay, so I got people that I'm just talking to my YouTubers and people out there now. But I've got a lot of animals in my life, right? I've got I once upon a time I had 5 dogs, 10 cats, right? And I kept this energy around me to just just that unconditional love energy, you know, that unselfishness, right? Not being selfish, selflessness, you know, just be able to experience that. And it came from a deeper manifestation of myself, of something that I wanted to experience. I wanted to experience uh, immense love. That was really what I wanted. That's what I wanted to manifest in my life. And it exploded, dude. I had 5 beautiful dogs, 10, 12, 10, 11 cats at one point. And since, over the last 10 years, like over in the last couple of years, really, I've had a few pass away, you know, to different states. But me understanding energy and what that is, I understand that through my animals, they never die, man. Like I still feel that energy, right? Especially like, okay, so uh, my my dog Kira, who passed away to a different, transcended her energy to a different state recently, right? It was, I knew it was coming, and I knew I was going to have to experience that. And I knew I was going to have to go through that, but it wasn't what I ever thought what death was, because I used to think when I was younger and I lost an animal, I felt a hole inside because of what I was taught, right? And now, once I lost Kira, I keep a little bit of a thing around my neck, and it's just the end of her tail, right? That she had a little paintbrush on her tail, so I just kind of snipped the little fur off and kept it around me. And it's just a reminder of the energy that I keep. But it's not her. I know that's not her, but I can feel the energy. And when she passed, that energy didn't leave me, right? I was kind of like overwhelmed with more love. I was like, wow, this is nuts. I can still feel this, right? And I lost a couple of my other dogs passed away, like, and cats passed away. And it's the same thing. You start recognizing what energy is and consciousness. And just because we lose body, we don't lose the energy field, and we can still tap into that, right? And it's through our minds that we do tap into that. So really, I don't. There is no such thing as death. There is only transcendence into different states. Like the law of transmutation of energy, sorry, just is states that, you know, energy doesn't die, it just transmutes, right? So this is exactly that, and it's recognizing not things but feelings of people. So when you lose somebody, yeah, of course it's sad, and you do feel that, right? And it's good, and you're going to grieve, but try and tap into that energy of them and feel that they're already there still, and they're still there. And when you start to feel sad about it, I just say to people, know that it's still there, man, and you can still tap into it through the feelings of love, really. And it's the biggest thing that transcends. That feeling of love is so huge, and it can, when you tap into something of people what I've gone, it can heal you, keep healing you. Do you know what I mean? And it does for me. So I don't believe in death in any sense. I always see that we transcend our consciousness to different states, and we're here to constantly learn through our awareness in whatever form we're in, really. Like I say, energetic lessons. So
Well, and then they'll tell you that like dogs and cats and stuff don't go to heaven, they say. And this is the most annoying shit to me ever. Forgive my language, but it just annoys the hell out of me that this is something a church will teach you. When if you go and back and you look at the Bible in Hebrew, trees are people.
yeah,
The Hebrew people said trees are souls who weren't brave enough like you to come into this world and risk the duality because we gambled by coming down here whether or not you're going to end up on this side or this side. You take this way, it's just going to be a longer route back to where you're going, but it's not like an eternal damnation. But if you come down here and you fuck up, you go that way versus this way. And them telling us that our dogs are nothing, like the God created them so they die and created you with this capacity to love it so that you'll miss it when it does die. Shit irritates me because that is the furthest thing from the truth. These dogs are probably far more than we are. They have people who've already probably graduated who are here to help you and be with you and to spend time with you and to love you and to give you this unconditional love so that you could use it to recognize our Father's unconditional love and understand that the bullshit they're telling you in religion is wrong, that our Father loves you tremendously, and that these dogs are a perfect example of that. The unconditional love, and they'll be with you forever. If you've created a bond with an animal, it's somebody, something that you loved forever, and it came down here with you on purpose.
And that's the same as well. Like we did choose to be here, man. We chose.
Oh, 100%. You like nobody could even say that. Like this is your choice. Your life was your choice. So if you're like suffering through something, and you picked it, you
Yeah,
picked it.
we chose
So
experience. We chose our parents. We chose to
yeah.
be who we did and what we wanted
Well,
to
the
do.
reason you were born on the day you were born is because of astrology. So you're talking earlier, like what are the stars, right? They're all actually emitting a frequency that hits Earth by the trillions of microspecks per second from each star is just bombarding the Earth with this energy that goes right through us. We can't feel it. But there's a lot of people who speculate that the stars are like play a huge role in everything beyond astrology. So they say that you chose the day, your life you chose is why you had been born at the same the time and place, is because that aligned with the stars, and that birthplace at that birth time is going to go through this life. And so that's what they're saying is like it all like it's all so much more intricate than we've ever been told. And if you learn to tap into yourself and your actual astrology, because even the Bible says the stars are for seasons and they're for times and seasons, or signs and seasons, sorry. So like there's way more to them, way more, but they've been demonized by the Catholic Church because they don't want you to know that you're literally in this the most epically designed matrix, whatever you want to call it, that it could ever exist, and it is beautiful. You just need to overcome it.
Okay, we're talking right today, right? For me, right, I'm just looking at synchronicities and I just see them like energy points, right? So it's the 8th to the 8th, 2022, and it's 9/11 where I am right now, right? And we're talking on something called the Lions Gate portal. And it's an energetic portal, right? So it's right now for the next few days for experiences, it's an immense level of energy. And they all right, so they talk about coming from planets and places like this, but that easily can be transcended into what the stars really are, you know what I mean? And how it is, they are just energies, kind of like if we're on
I
a,
think it all plays together. I really think everything is in on it.
and I think like everything, there's the more that we kind of recognize that it's all what real or what energy really is. Energy, people say it, right? And I think when you hear it, oh, like everything's just energy, and people go, okay, yeah, I get that. But do you really know what that means? It's layers of it. You have to keep understanding it and keep taking it on board and go, oh, that means that and that means that. And then you start, what that really means is you transcend this physical flesh suit, right? And you start seeing that actually, I think from an energetic source first, a consciousness, not this physical body. So the more we start recognizing this energy form that we have, that we are, we will be creating the most desired reality for us, but also fulfilling our life purpose, I think, and what we really came to be. Because, like you say, we chose to be here, and I think along this journey, we also chose this, knew that there's going to be this massive uh, indoctrination, I guess. This dissonance.
Every generation goes through
You
this.
know what I
Like
mean?
it's over and over and over and over and over and over. Like we gain power through the people get comfortable, they lose power to the governments gain power, the people lose, and then the people come back. And it's literally just a back and forth over and over. It's because of the way generations work. When you struggle, like for instance, we're struggling out here. So we're fighting to fix that. Once it's fixed, everybody gets comfortable. 2 generations from now, the kids are going to be lazy. They're not going to care as much because they never experienced what we experienced. And then the government will regain its power. These are like little cycles that we go through, and like learning to recognize these things and like understanding that you could either be a witness, you could be a victim, or you could do something about it. I choose to do something about it. Like people will say, because I say this suffering is necessary. It is. It's a necessary part of our existence for the purpose of not like of enjoyment. You suffer, you enjoy, these things go together. People will say to me, well, why do you care to fix it? And I say, because that is the very purpose of suffering, is so people will do something about it. You choose to be a victim, you choose to watch people be victimized, or you choose to stand up and speak about it and do something, or you be the guy who does things to people, which is an even worse option. But all of the suffering gives me the opportunity to make my TikToks, to tell people how special they are, to tell people how loving our Creator is. Because if everybody wasn't going through this, then I wouldn't have anything to talk about. So it's all very necessary. So
I'll just say to people as well, recognize that like this creator it's not far away from us. This creator is in us. We are it.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that drives me nuts about, like, okay, so I'll get on some lives with people who I don't agree with. I like them a lot, but they'll say some stuff that I'm just like, and I don't like confrontation unless it's necessary. And so like they'll say things like Jesus is the Antichrist or whatever they want to say. I believe that in itself is wrong. Like that Jesus is not the Antichrist. The church created a fictional character using the story of Yahushua to further indoctrinate the people. But the physical being who was here in that story was not here on a negative note, was here to do good. His story got twisted, right?
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's doing, is they're just twisting it up. I'm gifted with a very good discernment, and I can feel when something's right or wrong. I just can.
100%.
And a lot of people don't have that. And it's, I think we do this for a reason. Like the reason why certain people have certain things is because that's their purpose. So like, I don't think anybody's bad. I think the people who are doing bad are misguided, but they're giving other people the opportunity to do good. And then the next time they will be in a different position to do good, and then they'll grow through these things. So every single position has its purpose, whether it's good or bad.
We've all been indoctrinated and still are, and still being brainwashed with our programs and our paradigms that we think is right, especially religion, man. It's so far from what the energetic truth is, really.
Religion's super bad. It's one of the most evil things.
But having said that, like even just on this talk, there is a new in itself. We are demystifying what religion is and seeing it for what it truly is, right? And I think that's what people take it, like I say, just keep coming back to this, just take the power back. And when you start seeing this, that what a program is and your subconscious mind, and I'm talking about just like Christ, right? And what I see Christ as your consciousness. Like when they don't know where your inner speak comes from. It doesn't come from your brain, right? It doesn't just, like the fact that you can think, therefore I am, right? That thought in your head is being projected from a higher place, right? It's not
100%.
And that's call it the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, whatever you want, but it's not here. And once we attach that thought in our head being that Christ consciousness, that is our imagination, that is our power, right?
I believe that the 10 Commandments are a very important part of our moral guidance. I believe further that if you were to kill somebody for breaking the 10 Commandments, that you are one evil bastard. That's my belief. I believe that the reason why you should follow these commandments are not because you're afraid of hell. That's ridiculous. You follow them because you have the Christ within and you want to do good, and you feel bad doing bad, you feel good doing good. And so it becomes a choice to just do things in the right way by choice, not by fear. And I compare this to marriage. So back before, like when Jesus wasn't here, you were sold. Your daughter was sold to somebody for marriage. Like you traded 2 goats and 20 acres of land for my daughter. I give you my daughter, and I'd take the land and the goats, and then you got my daughter. That was what it used to be.
Well, and that's not the feminine energy, though. That's trying to push down that feminine energy that we.
That is long story short, I believe that the old biblical God was not all of it, because there's mixed stories, but that there was a very evil entity that was masquerading as the creator, who wasn't, and created this this do it or I'll kill you, sell your daughter into slavery, it's okay to beat your slave. All of this bullshit came from not our father. That was not our father. They labeled it all one, put it into one book and said, here you go. And so when you're reading it and you see Jesus saying his father's love and light and there's no harm, like no darkness in him at all. And then you go back to Isaiah and he's bragging about causing all of the evil on earth and killing people and stripping Jesus of his flesh and watching him, like, it's disgusting. He sang a song about it.
Yeah,
And it's just
anything with such a low vibration, like you and feel to it, you've got to just come on, man. You've got to wake up to this, you know.
You have to, guys. I hate to jump off, buddy. My phone's blowing up over here. So
lastly, man, just I know you mentioned earlier you can set up your site and everything, but at the moment, what's your handle on TikTok? Tell everybody to make sure they can find
dare_IK.2. So dare, like I dare you.
Yeah.
And then _IK and then 0.2.
Cool. Yeah, man. Just like make sure you check out these guys' videos.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Check it out, guys. And we're setting up. I'm building a website right now. We're going to do our very own platform with no censorship. Nobody's going to be able to tell me what I can and can't talk about. We'll have special guests like Dave Wise and ODD and all of these people. We'll have special guests. And we're going to take our podcast to the world. We're going to go to NASA. We're going to go to the Full Cold Pendulum. We're going to go to JPL. We're going to go to all of these places. We're going to bring the fight to their door. We're going to do weather balloons. We're going to do long distance photography. We're going to do laser measurements. We're going to do every single possible experiment to prove that this globe is a lie and that we deserve a much better reality than what we're being fed.
Yeah, man, this is amazing. Listen, thanks again, Derek. Right, and
absolutely.
Can't wait to speak to you again, man. All the best, yeah.
You as well, brother. Let me know. We could do this again for sure.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. All right, take care.